Alright guys, here's all the trains that I gotten through this week. I gotten more trains than last week, and some interesting ones as well, especially with this first train I gotten. The first train I gotten is CNQ180, going from Prince Rupert, BC to Brampton. It was led by 8100, one of the 4 SD70 ACEs that CN owns. It is also the class leader and it has a really awesome K5 Horn. And for the DPU is 2815, which is a regular GEVO. This is actually my second time seeing 8100. The first time was at Newmarket a month ago when it was a DPU on B730. I'm glad I got in my first ACE reader. 180 has 137 rail cars. We were originally going to see this train at a different spot, but unfortunately we missed it, so we had to go to Pine Orchard so that we can catch up with it, and we did. The Vivan and Kennedy Road crossings both activated at the same time, and they activated too early for the train, so let's skip to the part when the train got in closer. The next train that is coming up was filmed by York Regional Railz. He filmed this train for me so that way he can help out in my video. The train he saw is CN 313, going from Thorah to Winnipeg. He filmed 313 at
the Endangered Elgin Mills Crossing
in Richmond Hill, mile 22.16 on the ballast stop. Anyway, 313 was led by 5639, and trailing second is BCRAIL 4651, a C44-9W. I already saw 4651 at Zephyr when it was leading on X105, and at Pine Orchard when it was DPUing on Z112. 313 has 97 freight cars. And thanks again York Regional Railz for filming this train for me. Now here's some unplanned trains at my airport. The first one I got in is CN Z108, going from Vancouver to Montreal. It was led by 5780 with a really powerful K5HL Horn, and trailing second is 5748. 108 has 161 rail cars. Now here's one more unplanned train that I got in. What I didn't realize, it had something rare on it. This is another CN Q180. This time it was led by 3128, which surprisingly doesn't have a K5HL horn. Instead, it has a really rare K5HL horn, which sounded like an old CAS P5. This is my first time hearing this horn, and it sounds really epic. And for the DPU is 8867. 180 has 165 rail cars. Now here's a northbound GO train going from Thorah to Barrie. It was led by cab car 364. 3 cars down the train is former old cab car 227, and at the end of the train is MP40 locomotive 608, and it had 6 passenger cars. I got this at the East Gwillumbury GO station. The next day, I made the trip to the tracks. I went around the Beaverton area. The first stop is at the Concession Road 9 crossing near Beaverton, mile 66.58 on the ballast up. This is a great spot, but the downside is you could get backlit and there's no signals around the area. But trains fly through here, even through downtown Beaverton. This crossing is also located by the Thorah Centennial Park. And the park there is actually really nice. It's located by a lake. It's a really quiet spot, and not much people were there during that time. The conductor also came along with me as well, but unfortunately he missed the first train. Now here's a closer view of the lake. The first train I got in actually came after I set up my tripod, so it was definitely a perfect timing. The train I got in is CN M313. It surprisingly came in the morning instead of in the evening. I have a feeling that it is running late for some reason. Going from Toronto to Winnipeg, it has a really interesting last stop. It was led by 8908 with a really interesting sounding K5 horn. Trailing second is 2258. Now you won't believe what's going to happen next. Trailing third and fourth are two GMD1 units. I wasn't expecting to see more GMD1 switcher units again. But just like the other three that came a while ago, these two are heading to Winnipeg to be in storage and then to scrap. These two being 1339 and 1344, and they are both in dead and tow. It was definitely a surprise for me. I wasn't expecting for them to be on this train. The ST70M-2 and DC GEVO locomotives are pulling two dead GMD1s and 90 freight cars. And it was carrying some interesting loads. This train and all the other trains I got in here will be flying. So get ready for some high-speed trains. Not long later, the conductor showed up, And after that, along came CN A451, going from Charter to North Bay. It was all EMD power from 3 SD75Is. 5662 was leading, but get this, it has a K5HL horn instead of a K3H.
Oh,
Wait,
what?
my God, CN. Yep, you heard me correctly. 5662 has a K5HL horn. I said this once and I'm gonna say it again. K5HL horns that are not on GEVOs doesn't mix. And when I first heard the horn, I thought it was gonna be a GEVO leading, but turns out it was an SD75I. Trailing second is 5780, the same unit that was leading on set 108 a few days ago, and that was my second time seeing 5780. And trailing third is 5738. A 3-locomotive train pulling 64 freight cars. The next train we got in is CNQ107, going from Brampton to Vancouver. It was led by 2958 with a really epic K5HL horn, and it has the Every Child Matters sticker. And trailing second is 2815, the same unit that was DPUing on 180 almost a week ago. 107 yesterday has 91 rail cars and 260 axles. And it was going into the Bracken siding to meet with VIA 2 and CNQ 180. The next train we got in is Via 2, going from Vancouver to Toronto. It was led by 6456 with a really powerful horn, and trailing second is 6446. Via 2 yesterday has 21 passenger cars and 92 axles. The next train we got in is another CN Q180. This time it was led by 8902 with a really interesting K5HL Horn. Trailing second is 3891, which is a 100-year anniversary unit. And for the DPU is 8865. This is actually my second time seeing 8902 and 3891, but my third time seeing 8865. The first time I saw 8902 was at Richmond in Sever over a year ago when it was leading on M303, and it had a Dash 8 trailing second. The first time I saw 3891 is at Bloomington GO Station over 2 months ago when it was leading on Q101. My first time seeing 8865 is at Bethesda Side Road back in 2019 when it was leading on a northbound intermodal train at night. The second time I saw it was at Rathburn almost a year ago when it was trailing second on Q105. .180 yesterday has 178 rail cars and 498 axles. After 180 went by, the conductor unfortunately had to get going, giving me a chance to move to downtown Beaverton for the rest of the trip. I went to the Main and Simcoe streets in Beaverton. Main Street is on mile 63.84, while Simcoe is on mile 63.88, and they are right beside each other. In fact, you can actually hear the bells from each crossing. The Main Street crossing actually has more equipment than Simcoe Street. It has a pedestrian gate, more lights, and a high-pitched SafeTrend Type 3E bell, replacing a Western car hates mechanical bell. But get this, the bell was installed a few years ago, and it's already starting to die. Simcoe Street, however, doesn't have actual equipment. It doesn't have a pedestrian gate and actual lights. But it does have a Western car hates mechanical bell, which is working perfectly. But I have a feeling it will be replaced in the future. And I've only been here only once last year. Anyways, let's get into some trains. After a while of waiting and being rickrolled in the car where I was waiting, along came CNQ 101, going from Brampton to Rubber Banks, BC. Surprisingly, it doesn't have any AC power. Instead, it has an FD70M-2 and a DC GEVO. It was led by 8905 with a really interesting K5HL Horn, and trailing second is 2286. 101 yesterday has 180 rail cars and 508 axles. Not far behind 101 is CNQ105, going from Montreal to Vancouver. It was led by 3901 with a really epic K5HL Horn, and trailing second is 3904. 105 has 165 rail cars and 488 axles. That was the slowest gate mechanism I ever seen. After that, I called it a day for railfanning since I saw enough. But the next morning, I got in word about a rail unit heading my way once again. The train I got in is CNA 450, going from North Bay to Toronto. Since I already saw 451 a day ago, it's going to be the same power, but it's opposite. It was led by 5738 with a really awful K3H Horn. Trailing second is 5780. Trailing third is 5662, which has that K5HL Horn. And an interesting fact that 5662 actually used to have a K3H and a P3 horn. I have no idea why they installed a K5HL horn on this unit, replacing the P3 horn. Not like yesterday they added a new unit. They picked it up at Huntsville. Trailing fourth is 7071, a GP9RM. Forgot to mention that this is my third time seeing 5738. The first time it's at St. John's Side Road over 3 months ago when it was leading on X112. .450 this morning has 92 freight cars, and this is the fastest southbound freight train I ever seen here.
Pine Orchard and 450.
Wow, that was the fastest southbound train I ever seen here. Wasn't expecting for it to go so darn fast. Anyway, there goes 450 heading to Toronto. So yeah.
Pine Orchard, 450.
Yep, 450 is approaching Pine Orchard. Anyways, well, I really hope you enjoyed this weekend's Railfanning video. Until my next one, I will see you guys later. Peace out, folks. Please feel free to subscribe to York Regional Railz and the Conductor if you want to see more trains. I'll leave their links in the description when I have a time. Hey! Please remember to subscribe to my channel for more epic Railfanning videos coming soon, if you haven't already. Well, as usual, I really hope you enjoyed this epic Railfanning video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you guys in the next video. And that will be it as usual.